Hello everyone, and welcome to the Cioffi Brothers podcast. I'm Ken.
I'm Alex.
And today we're going to be reviewing Batman and Harley Quinn. So, to summarize the plot or the setup for Batman and Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy and the Floronic Man hatch a scheme to basically turn, the people of the world into plants or something. It's really not important. In order to catch Poison Ivy, Batman and Nightwing must track down her longtime friend and partner in crime, Harley Quinn, who has recently been released on parole, and therefore, has kind of gone scattered to the winds, and they have to find her, and search her out and find her, so that hopefully she can help them track down Poison Ivy, who's with the Floronic Man, and they want to turn plants into people into plants or something. Yeah. So, that's the long and the short of it. So, we'll start with the pros. If you can't tell, we already have an opinion about this one.
Yeah.
So the pros, obviously, are Bruce Timm's art style. That's just, it's always been, we've always wanted to come back to the Bruce Timm art style. I was always hoping that there would be some kind of resurgence of the DC animated universe. I mean, it's been dead for almost as long as it was alive at this point.
There was a tiny resurgence with Green Lantern, the animated series.
It was definitely in the style, Bruce Timm's style, which was nice, but it was not necessarily in the DC animated universe.
No.
But yeah, that style is nice, and this is a nice return to that style. You can see a lot of things like the blue in Batman's cape, which is slightly different. It's kind of more Batman the Animated Series, whereas in the new Batman Adventures they did like the dark gray, which kind of came across as brown on screen, although I think it was technically supposed to be a dark gray. This is kind of one of our other pros later on, but I'm going to bump it up into this subsection here. You have the original Batman the Animated Series Batmobile. So again, when they moved from Batman the Animated Series to like the new Batman Adventures, around the time that Superman the Animated Series came around, they changed a lot of things. They changed the Batmobile. They changed a lot of the character designs. So it's nice just in general to just feel some of that classic Batman the Animated Series stuff. Do you want to take the next pro here?
Yeah, because I really enjoy this. Kevin Conroy, the best Batman around.
He is
back as Batman. You got Loren Lester as Nightwing. Coming back.
Did Robin back in the day. Did Nightwing back in the new Batman Adventures. He comes back as Nightwing here.
And then Melissa Rauch. Bad with names. She does a nice job.
She does a nice job as Harley Quinn. Yeah, she does the accent that Harley's kind of known for.
Sort of Brooklyn style.
I'm not sure even exactly how to place it, but she does the accent that she's known for, which is notable. They didn't do it in Suicide Squad. Margot Robbie did not. She did not do kind of the more traditional Harley Quinn accent, and not that to say that she did a bad job. She's actually, I think, one of the better parts of that movie. But it's just nice that she went back to that original style.
Yeah, from when she was in, because this was the universe and the show that introduced
Harley Quinn. Absolutely, she was supposed to be a one-off character that was created by, I think, Paul Dini and Bruce Timm together, and actually was inspired by the character. By a character in a soap opera, and the woman who played the character in the soap opera, Arleen Sorkin, is the one who eventually went on to voice the actual character in the animated series.
Boom.
Yeah, boom, mic drop. So yes, yeah, the fact that the animated universe that birthed her, they kind of went back a little bit more to her roots is kind of nice, and I agree with you on having Conroy back as Batman and Loren Lester back as Nightwing. Kevin Conroy is I agree, the best Batman. The only one who comes up just behind him in terms of Batman is Bruce Greenwood from Young Justice.
Yeah.
He does such an excellent job. Like, if I couldn't have Kevin Conroy, give me Bruce Greenwood, because he's very, very good as Batman.
He's a good Batman.
But anyway, we're not talking about Young Justice right now. We might be talking about it soon, though. But Kevin Conroy, awesome. Melissa Rauch, very good. Loren Lester, awesome.
Going back to Bruce Timm style and going back to Harley Quinn, small note, they use Harley's original character model.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's a separate pro. We'll note that down. Yeah, the fact that they didn't do some of the newer versions of Harley, which I mean, personally, I think they kind of over-sexualize the character. I mean, you have a character who's supposed to be athletic and nimble and jumping and bouncing around all the time, and the original design for this character was fully clothed, a mask, and face makeup. Literally no skin showing on her entire body. And a lot of modern versions of the character put her in, like, very skimpy clothing.
Cut to Suicide Squad.
Well, yeah, not just Suicide Squad, but even New 52, where they put her in, like, a corset or something. Like, how are you going to bounce around and, like be athletic and gymnastic-like in that? It was just, it made no sense from a character design perspective. And so, yes, so to that point, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I think this is our last pro, technically. The modern design for Nightwing. No more mullet! So that's kind of cool. So yeah, no, they tweaked Nightwing a little bit. For this movie, they gave him a short haircut. They did kind of like a white eye inside the eyes of the mask, which I actually think works really well if you think about, Dick Grayson's character, and it kind of softens Nightwing a little bit. He came across as definitely like Batman 2.0 in the new Batman Adventures, which is very much a part of the storyline for that.
Well, yeah, it's part of his whole character.
And I think it just shows him his growth as a character in general, to, see him softened a little bit, which, I mean,
that plays into the story a little bit, which will let you see for yourselves, but it works. It works very well for him.
I agree. It does. It works good. So the cons, and actually this is a separate con. I'm going to go kind of off our last conversation, and that's the thing that's hard for me, is that it is not clear whether or not this is part of the DC animated universe. I want to hope that it's not, for a lot of the reasons we're going to get into right now. If it was, then yeah, I guess that's a nice little bit of character development for Nightwing, but then there's all this other stuff that we're going to talk about that makes me hope that it really is not a part of the DC animated universe, and that it's just kind of this weird one-off thing. Like Superman versus Brainiac. Do you know of that?
I don't.
So there was this, it might have been around the time Superman Returns came out, they did this one-off animated movie of Superman versus Brainiac, and they had what is the gentleman's name who did it in Superman the Animated Series?
I forget, but he does it.
Oh God!
He does it in the animated series. He does it in Justice League. He does it in.
I'm so mad at myself right now. He was in Wings. Love Wings. Full disclosure, we just looked it up. Tim Daly. I'm very mad at myself for not remembering that off the top of my head, because I'm usually very good about that.
I thought you were talking about Brainiac.
No. So Tim Daly comes back to do the voice of Superman. I think Dana Delaney comes back to do the voice of Lois Lane. I forget who they had to come in. They did not have... my brain is fried. The voice of Lex Luthor. Clancy Brown. They did not have Clancy Brown come back as Lex Luthor. They did not have Corey Burton as Brainiac. They had some totally different people, and it was more or less a cash grab. I think it's been admitted as much. And it's been kind of disavowed out of the DC animated universe. I don't think this is as bad as that, but along those lines, I kind of hope it's not a part of the DC animated universe. So, I digress.
That moves into our cons.
It moves into our cons. And after that introduction, here are the cons.
Get ready.
Yeah,
it's a war.
Buckle up.
I'll start out. Man, was the tone all over the place.
All over the place.
What were they trying I can't fathom what they were trying to do. Were they trying to make this, it goes into this very mature territory and over-sexualizes the characters, especially Harley Quinn.
All the characters. And not just because there's some very mature content. You have, a very, more than just implied sex between Harley Quinn and Nightwing.
Oh, they definitely do it.
I was trying to keep it a little bit cleaner than that, bud. Thanks.
If you're gonna
there are children watching!
It's a PG-13 movie. If you're going to watch the movie, get ready.
Yeah, no. Which is just... And I understand with, like, the PG-13, there's always the desire to kind of do things that maybe they couldn't have done before with Batman the Animated Series. But Batman the Animated Series did a really good job of... And this is kind of a different con here. The adult jokes are not subtle or tongue-in-cheek. They're very much adult jokes out there.
And they are in your face. They want you to know that this is what they're joking about.
Yeah, that's what they're joking about. Whereas, like, Batman the Animated Series, because it was a kid's show, like, it's like the Disney, like, certain, like, the Pixar movies and stuff like that. Like, there's stuff for the adults and there's stuff for the kids.
So and everyone can enjoy watching.
Everyone can enjoy what you're watching. Whereas, and stuff that you don't realize until you're older, oh, wow, they were joking about this in that movie? And I'm not saying it has to be as subtle as that, but it just feels like a very, like, incongruous to have that tonal of a joke and that kind of mature joke along with, this art style that is very much tied to Batman the Animated Series, which is a series that a lot of us grew up with.
Yeah, it's like we know that you're adults now. Here are the jokes.
Yeah, here are the adult jokes.
Here are the adult jokes.
And look at this. We're gonna show some sexy animated characters. Like, no, we don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You can have mature content. You can have an adult story without just being like, ooh, there's sex going on here. Like it could have been. You could have it maybe a little bit more violent. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just saying like 1,000 times. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, there was the 2 releases. There was the one that kind of got shown on main TV, and there was the one that was the film release. That, there was a little bit more blood, and there was more of an implication that the Joker died at the end. Like, it just... You can
they showed a little bit more, and they...
You can do mature without being immature. Let's put it that way. So, and kind of along with that,
going back to the weird, there was some. So you got a serious moment one hand, and then
you have one scene you have Batman yelling at Harley Quinn how she needs to like get it together, and this is a serious thing, and then next scene, the Batusi, like. You have a separate animated universe. So before, rest in peace, Adam West passed away. They were doing animated versions of...
Yeah, they did Batman, Two-Face.
Yup.
They did one with...
Catwoman and the Joker or something like that.
Where Adam West came back and voiced
And
Batman.
What's his name came back as Robin. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts. I'm doing terrible.
Either which
today.
way,
my brain is fried.
They came back and they had original voice actors coming back and doing it in the original
style.
As if this was a continuation of the original 66 Batman.
Right. With that campy tone. Yeah. Because there are people who like the Batman, that Batman style, the campy tone. And I think there is a time and a place for it. It's not my favorite. I think that version of Batman has and deserves a rightful place in history. And there are people who like that tone, and that there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my favorite. I watched the heck out of it when I was a kid, and I ate it up. I took it so seriously. I ate it up as a kid. I loved it. It used to be on like
Shark Repellent.
Yeah, Shark Repellent. Bat Shark Repellent.
Bat Shark
Repellent. Sorry. Alex, come on.
Bat Shark Repellent.
But anyway, it just seems silly to try to like do that here. And then our next con, in terms of like the tones all over the place, is just I can't. Go ahead. I can't even say it.
There's this weird farting scene.
They do a fart scene.
They do a weird farting scene.
Yeah. Like they're driving in the car. Harley Quinn's like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and Batman's like, hold it, which, I mean, is immature, but I could see that like Batman just being a hard whatever, and doing
That's
that, being Batman. But then she farts, and then it's loud, and Batman starts commenting on the smell, and he goes, "This smells like discipline," and like starts like it's just so, it's immature and it's wrong. It's wrong in it would be wrong in Teen Titans Go, let alone in this.
It would be more understandable in Teen Titans Go, but it just doesn't fit. Doesn't fit.
Mm. So those are the all in terms of the tone being all over the place. That's pretty much everything. Campy music. The music was not great. It was kind of like, Batman the original Batman the animated series was known for its music. It might have even won awards for the music.
It had this great sweeping score. The original opening title screens,
and there was just subtle tonal shifts in the music that really informed the scene. I mean, you go back to like Heart of Ice or Feet of Clay, and the music in those, like, God, they lent so much to it. Or, is it One More Chance? Is that the title of it? Or Second Chances or something like that. I forget what it was. Anyway, the one that's very noir-esque, and it's the guy is a crime boss or whatever, and then his like half brother or his best friend or whatever, I forget what it was. Ended up like through flashbacks they find out that the one kid lost his legs in a train accident, and he ends up becoming a priest or a father, and it's just about redemption. And like you go back and you watch an episode like that, and then you watch something like this, and it just feels like, why use this animated style if you're gonna go so totally different tonally?
Yep.
But anyway, this one is really, really yours.
Yeah, because I had an issue
but I don't
with
disagree with it.
I feel like they mixed and matched a lot of the different, like, from the Batman the Animated Series to the New Adventures of Batman. Like, you had
even JLU a little bit,
and even some of the Justice League Unlimited stuff. Like, they had Batman's newer costume design without the yellow logo.
Yep.
But they had his blue cape.
Yep.
Which was originally seen in the Batman the Animated Series.
Right.
When he had his yellow logo.
And not the same as his design in Justice League Unlimited, which they did go back to the blue, but they changed the look of him quite a bit. So kind of like going back to what you're like, it's just all over the place,
And they used the original
Batmobile,
which was in Batman the Animated Series, but they had a different one in New Batman
Adventures, which
so it's just like they just kind of they were like, oh yeah, this is.
Well,
this
basically,
is what,
it feels like a cash grab. They're like, hey, those guys who love Batman the Animated Series? We haven't made money off of that in a while. Let's reap those rewards again.
Yeah.
Let's just get on that nostalgia. And all those guys are grown up now, and they're gonna love like sexy stuff with all these characters because they all grow up, having crushes on these characters, and they'll be all sexy. And
it's the weird in between time between when New 52 was ending and Rebirth was beginning.
Yeah.
They couldn't find their place in the market. They couldn't find what they were doing yet.
Yeah.
With Rebirth, got them back on track, but that's just where this movie kind of sits.
Yeah. The ending was just. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get into spoiler alerts. I guess spoiler alert because it might just come out anyway. The ending was garbage. They're building up to this like final showdown. And, here's another con. Random Swamp Thing for no reason.
No reason. Which it actually made me
pops up, basically pops up out of the water to be like, yeah, I'm not going to do nothing here. And goes away. Like,
that's
completely pointless.
No one else talks to him.
Completely pointless. In every way, shape, or form. Would have been great if they had done something with him, but they treat him more as like the elemental version of the character that they've been doing lately, as opposed to like
he talks for the green.
The green, exactly, like the elemental version. But then it just like they're like, oh well, how do we do this and blah blah blah, and she's like, well, he's just a plant guy. Why don't you just light him on fire? And they're like, oh, that's great. And then Batman and Nightwing both give her a kiss on the cheek. And like,
boom, cut to credits.
Cut to credits. Literally cut to credits. And then mid-credit scene, Floronic Man running by on fire. Like, that's what you do? That's how you end this? It was like, I wasted so much of my time getting invested in this story. And again, it would have been different if visually it looked different and tonally they stayed on the camp. If they stayed on the camp and visually did a completely different art style, that ending would have fit. But because they go back to very serious moments, and because they have the Batman the Animated Series style, it feels completely off. Just completely off.
Yep.
And ruins, honestly, like, what could have been saved with a decent ending, they just dropped the ball completely.
With the whole thing.
Deep breaths.
And then that leads into the last column.
Which, again, I want to preface this, that this is not a dig on the other person, but, go ahead.
No Arleen Sorkin, no Tara Strong.
No Tara Strong. That's the thing that's kind of a bummer. They were, so what they were trying to do, and again, not a dig on Melissa Rauch, because we already said she's a pro. We said she did a good job, but it definitely felt like stunt casting, as opposed to, like, going back. Like, I know Arleen Sorkin, I think, has more or less retired from the character, which is fine. I respect that. Yeah. But Tara Strong has very much picked up as the character and has done a more than admirable job as the character, especially, like, in the Arkham series.
Yeah.
You know, when Arleen Sorkin kind of retired, she picked up, and I think she did a very good job. But why not go back to those? And I mean, the answer is obviously, as a stunt casting, they're like, oh, well, we'll get Melissa Rauch. Won't that be fun? Which it was fun, and she did a great job. But it would have been. I mean, if you're gonna go back to this,
Kevin Conroy.
You got Kevin Conroy. You went out your way to get Loren Lester, who has not voiced the character in probably decades, probably at least 20 years. You know, why not go back and continue to kind of reap that well? Of those characters and voice actors.
Oh, it's just...
and again with Poison Ivy, too, because I think Poison Ivy is not voiced by... I don't know her name. I know I don't know her name, but it's one of those ones that would be there. I feel like would almost be there, but anyway.
Either way, it's not, you know, they copped out in some places. Like, yeah, you got Kevin Conroy back. We got Batman back.
Yeah.
But everyone else is, you know, whoever we decide to put in there.
Right. Great.
Overall grades.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you go first because I'm going to piggyback off of yours.
I give it a D. It's tough. I mean, it's
tough to watch a little bit.
There's some cringe-worthy moments.
That's a good description of it. Some cringy moments.
Farting scene is pretty bad, but there's some pretty genuinely good Batman.
There are some good Batman moments. There are, yeah, there definitely are, and it's great. Again, it's great to have Kevin Conroy as Batman and Loren Lester as Dick Grayson playing off each other. Because even in the new Batman Adventures, you didn't get that a lot, and you didn't get the playfulness that you got in Batman the Animated Series, where Dick was very much the lighter side of Batman, and this was definitely a hearkening back to that. So that's definitely something that was nice that maybe we didn't really touch upon in the pros. But overall, just kind of tough. So my grade is going to kind of piggyback off of that. I think I probably would have given the same as Alex if it weren't for the nostalgia factor, and I think that's the only thing that's bringing my grade up a little bit to a C-. And that's really, I think I'm being generous because of nostalgia for Batman the Animated Series and Kevin Conroy and all of the above.
It only gets you so far for me.
Right. So I think that's it, as if that wasn't enough.
Our ranting is over on this one.
Our ranting is over on this one for now, until another day where we rant. But we'll wrap it up for today. As always, share, comment, like, subscribe. Is that all of them?
Ring the little notification bell.
I don't know, whatever. I get at least 3 of the 4, whatever. But yes, do all that stuff, and we'll see you guys next time.